What's making that sound?
The Assassin's Creed franchise has been a roller coaster of highs and lows over the years. With Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft had the perfect opportunity to capitalize on a long-awaited setting, feudal Japan, but instead they delivered a game that disappoints on multiple levels. While the game isn't completely devoid of merit, its flaws overshadow its potential. From lackluster storytelling and uninspired gameplay mechanics to technical issues and questionable design choices, Assassin's Creed Shadows ultimately falls short of expectations. Ubisoft fans have been clamoring for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan for over a decade. When Shadows was announced, excitement was through the roof. Unfortunately, instead of delivering an immersive and authentic experience, the game squanders its setting. The world of feudal Japan in Shadows feels like a generic Ubisoft open world rather than a historically rich, vibrant setting. The game lacks the depth and cultural nuance of Japan during this period. Compare this to Ghost of Tsushima, which masterfully recreated the era with meticulous detail and respect for the culture. In contrast, Shadows feels like a game that could have been set in any historical time period with just a few aesthetic changes. Furthermore, Ubisoft's approach to historical storytelling has been questionable for years. While they claim to base their stories on real history, Shadows takes significant liberties that break immersion. The characters feel more like modern Hollywood interpretations of Japanese figures rather than genuine historical representations. This creates a disconnect for players who were hoping for a more authentic experience. The Assassin's Creed series has had some incredible narratives. Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag, and Origins come to mind. Unfortunately, Shadows is not one of them. The game introduces two protagonists, Yasuke, a real-life African samurai, and Nao, a female shinobi, but neither character is developed in a compelling way. Yasuke's story had the potential to be groundbreaking, considering he was an actual historical figure who rose to prominence in Japan. However, the game fails to provide a meaningful arc for him, instead turning him into a generic action hero. His motivations feel shallow, and his dialogue lacks depth, making it hard to connect with him. Naoe, as a shinobi, should be a stealth-focused character with an engaging backstory. However, her storyline is equally underwhelming. She comes across as another predictable Assassin's Creed protagonist, rebellious, driven by revenge, and lacking real personality. Her dialogue is filled with cliches, and her interactions with Yasuke feel forced rather than organic. The supporting cast does not fare much better. There are few memorable side characters, and the main villains lack the charisma or menace to make them stand out. In previous games, characters like Haytham Kenway from Assassin's Creed 3 or Rodrigo Borgia from Assassin's Creed 2 were compelling antagonists with clear motives. In contrast, Shadows features forgettable villains who exist purely as obstacles without any real intrigue. One of the biggest issues plaguing modern Assassin's Creed games is Ubisoft's obsession with massive open worlds filled with meaningless content. Shadows continues this trend, delivering yet another bloated map crammed with repetitive side activities, collectibles, and unnecessary busywork. Ubisoft loves padding their games with excessive objectives that add little to the overall experience. Instead of creating meaningful side quests with engaging stories, Shadows bombards players with generic fetch quests, uninspired enemy camps, and copy-paste assassination missions. The world feels large but empty, lacking the depth needed to make exploration rewarding. Compare this to The Witcher 3, where even the smallest side quests have emotional weight and unique stories. In Shadows, most side content feels like filler designed to artificially extend playtime. This results in an exhausting gameplay loop rather than an engaging adventure. While Assassin's Creed has evolved over the years, its combat system has remained hit or miss. Shadows introduces a dual character system, with Yasuke focused on combat and Naoe focused on stealth. However, neither playstyle feels particularly refined. Yasuke's combat is clunky and lacks the fluidity of other action games. His attacks feel sluggish, and enemies often behave in an overly predictable manner. Combat animations are stiff, making fights feel repetitive rather than dynamic. Given that Ghost of Tsushima set a high standard for samurai combat, Shadows pales in comparison.